So, hi everyone. Let's start the session. So, coming to medieval India, it's a concern for many aspirants. What to study, what all things you have to cover in medieval India. Hope this screen is visible to you. It's again a beautiful part of our history. Lots of contributions are there, lots of rulers, dynasties, reforms, Bhakti Sufi movements, scientific technological developments, very good international relations. So many things are there. Coming to medieval India, usually UPSC asks questions like this. For example, the chronology. Chronology of events in medieval India. Sometimes they ask about battles. For example, Haldigati battle or Panipat battles or Tarain battles. Sometimes they ask about the different reforms. For example, there is a concept called the Ijara system or Zabdi system. There is Jagirdari, Zamindari, or there is Amaranayiga system. So there are different reforms or systems, institutions. There are chronology, battles chronology. Sometimes they ask different ruling dynasties, the chronology of different ruling dynasties. Sometimes they ask the chronology of different rulers. Okay, so the things are very much important. Here you cover, for example, early medieval India. First thing is early medieval India. When you study early medieval India, again it is split as there is the history of early North India. Okay, the history of early is, early means early medieval South India. The history of Deccan. These are very much important. Why I say this? Because from these areas, lots of questions being asked, previously. So when you study the history of early medieval India, you come across, a triangular struggle among these Palas, Pradigaras, and these Rashtrakudas. So Pala, Pradigara, Rashtrakudas, they are very much important for you. Have an idea what are their significant contributions also. For example, Palas were patrons of this Buddhism. They were patrons of this Vajrayana Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, etc. So their contributions to these cultural institutions, religious institutions and practices, Rashtrakudas, okay, their contributions to Rashtrakudas, of course, their contributions to this, is art and architecture. Art and architecture, literature, especially Kannada literature. Okay, So you see that this is already asked in the prelims and mains exam. Palas, their contributions to Buddhism, Buddhist art, literature, architecture. Okay, Rashtrakutas also asked in prelims. So take care that when you study Pala Pratigara Rashtrakutas, of course, their contributions to different styles of these, monumental structures. I mean, these viharas and chaityas. Okay, their contributions to this temple architecture. Contributions to temple architecture, their contributions to different schools of sculpture, okay, and their contributions to this literature, I mean religious literature and secular literature. Okay, these elements are very much important. So here what I am saying is that when you study Pala Pratigara Rashtrakutas, take care their cultural contributions. Okay, especially contributions to art, architecture, literature part is very important. Similar way, I would say that there is Rajputs. Rajputs, and of course, why Rajputs are significant in history. Why they are significant in the history? Okay, you will come across different, Rajput dynasties are there. Rajput dynasties are there. Have an idea, Rajputs and their, connections. Their connection or their interaction. Their interaction with these contemporary ruling dynasties. That's important. And most importantly, when you study Rajputs, take care their contributions to temple architecture. For example, there is a style called Nagara. Nagara style of temple architecture. There are three main styles of temple architecture. Nagara, there is Dravida, there is Vasara. Okay, Nagara is, this is North Indian style, this is South Indian style, this is Deccani style. Okay, they have different patterns also. Okay, they have different, for example, Deccani style, this is Chalukyas, South, Pallavas and Cholas. The Nagara, you must know that yes, it's a mainly it is Rajput clan or a Rajput dynasty. They were the main patrons of this Nagara style of temple architecture, especially that yes, there is Khajuraho temples. Okay, so you must know who is that particular. Can anybody suggest in the chat box? Can anybody suggest who is that patrons of this Nagara style of temple architecture? Can anybody suggest? Can anybody suggest? In the chat box. Come on, say anybody. Yes, it is Chandelas. Chandelas, okay, is placed between 9th to 12th centuries AD. So take care, Chandelas. Okay, they were main patrons of Khajuraho temples. So that the Rajputs, Rajputs' contributions to literature, their contributions to literature, their contributions to art forms, especially the painting, Rajput painting. That's again very important here. Okay, that we will study along with these Mughals. Okay, there are different there are different schools of sculpture also patronized by them. That is again very important. Then architecture. When I say architecture, mostly the temple architecture styles are important. Okay, there are different types of this Nagara style. Okay, that all things you have to cover. Similar way, early medieval India talk about early medieval South dynasties also, early medieval South dynasties also, and Deccan dynasties also. These things you must cover. Okay, so that's again very important. You will come across lots of dynasties. You will study that the Hoysalas are there, or Chalukyas are there. Okay, there is this Pallavas are there. Some examples I'm telling you. Pallavas. Okay, Pallavas are there, or this what is called this Cholas are there. Imperial Cholas are there. So these dynasties you have to cover nicely. Most importantly, is the name of the dynasties. Ruling dynasties, their popular rulers. Okay, their popular acts. Acts means the popular battles, embassies, relations with other countries. Then see the reforms. Those things are important. Similar way, the economic and social conditions. For example, questions can be asked about the status of this slavery, status of slavery, the status of women. Okay, status of marriage as an institution, the status of this what is called about education, or existence of educational institutions. You heard about Gediga. There is a system called Gediga. So these things are important for you. Okay, so cover it very nicely. So after this early medieval India, you are coming across another popular module, which is Bhakti Sufi movement. Bhakti Sufi movements. When you cover these Bhakti Sufi movements, you must understand that there are lots of terms, terms related to Bhakti Sufi movements. That's very much important for you. For example, they can ask a question on this fana, they can ask a question on ziyarat. Okay, so lots of terms are there with regard to Bhakti Sufi traditions. Lots of terms are there. So terms and their meanings are important for you. Bhakti Sufi movements, when you cover it, is important. You must know who are the popular Bhakti Sufi saints, their philosophies, their popular teachings. For example, you take Ramanuja or Vallabhacharya. Okay, or you can go for Mirabai or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so there are lots of saints, and what are their teachings, their philosophies, okay, their popular works. Okay, maybe it is Tulsidas, okay, or it is Kabir or Guru Nanak. So this way, the popular saints, their philosophies, teachings, and their popular works, that's very much important for you, that you shouldn't compromise. Similar way, when you study these Bhakti traditions, especially when we start with the Bhakti traditions, UPSC questions were mainly like this, the salient features of Bhakti traditions. What were their main features? Okay, that's important. Then there are different sects in these Bhakti traditions, different versions are there. Okay, Saguna cult is there. Okay, Saguna cult is there, or Nirguna cult is there. Okay, there is a Shaivat Bhakti saints are there. There is Vaishnava Bhakti saints are there. So have an idea how this Bhakti, what are these, different Bhakti cults, developed in South India, later on in the North India. Those ideas you must have. Similar way, there are sects or maybe silsilas, in Sufi tradition also. You must know there is, I would say that there is Chisti silsila, Suhravadi silsila, Khatri silsila. There are different silsilas. So have an idea what are the differences. When it comes to Bhakti Sufi, divisions are there, different cults are there, or different sects are there. have an idea what are the differences. Okay, what are the differences? Okay, so these things are very much important for you. Similar way, when you study Bhakti Sufi movements, you must also know that who are their popular patrons. Their popular patrons. Okay, patrons of Bhakti Sufi saints. Also, there are popular. What I say is that ideologies are there. Popular ideologies or teachings are there. Different schools of philosophies are there. And most importantly, this Bhakti Sufi, literature. This is very much important for you. Bhakti Sufi literature is very much important for you. What are the popular literary works in Bhakti tradition? What are the popular literary works in these, Sufi traditions? They are very much important for you. And again, I would say that, when you go through this, you must know how they impacted the socio-cultural, economic aspects of medieval life of the people. Okay, those things are very much important for you. So Bhakti Sufi traditions never ever compromise. That's an important part for you. After that, you come across another important portion, which is, I would say that there are many the history of this Delhi Sultanate, then the history of this Vijayanagar Empire, the history of this Mughal Empire, the history of Marathas, the history of this arrival of Europeans. This much things are very much important for you. So have a look into this. When I say medieval India, yes, you start with this one. What is that? Tripartite struggle, Gurjara Pratiharas, Palas, Rashtrakutas. Gurjara Pratiharas, North India, Nagabhatta. Palas, Eastern India, Gobala. Then Rashtrakutas, Deccan, then the Durga. So there is a struggle for the mastery over Kanuj that was started among these three powers. So have an idea why they conflicted with each other, popular rulers of each dynasties, kingdoms, and what are their cultural or intellectual contributions or literary contributions. That part is important. Okay, especially Rashtrakutas, Kailashnath temple, Ellora caves, Elephanta caves. See, their architecture, their art forms, literature, sculpture, that's very much important for you. Rajputs, there are Agnigula, non-Agnigula clans are there. For example, coming to Agnigula clans, there is Chalukyas, there is Pratiharas, there is Chahamanas, non-Agnigula clans, Kalachuris, Chandelas, okay, Tawars, these are some non-Agnigula clans. Okay, so just to have an idea who are these Rajputs and what are their contributions. Okay, Rani Ki Wal, this is Chebwal. Okay, UNESCO heritage site. Okay, so the contributions of different these Solangi Chalukyas or Solangi rulers, Gujarati Solangi rulers. So different Rajputs are there, different ruling dynasties are there, and contributions of them are very much important, especially temple architecture. You know that there is Nagara style of temple architecture. There is Nagara style of temple architecture. So coming to Nagara style of temple architecture, look into this fact. There is the basic features of this Nagara style of temple architecture. Shigara is a Kavaniya tower. So that is a basic difference. In North Indian style, there is Shigara. There is a concept called, Shigara. Shigara concept is a beehive shaped tower, a beehive shaped tower. But in South India, it is, pyramidal tower. pyramidal tower. So coming to the fact, Shigara, there is a conical tower, that is one feature. There is a circular disc with the ribs round with the ribbed edges, or a circular disc with these rib round edges. That is called amalaga. For example, I will show you coming to.